Next Gen Gaming is here. I'm Andrew Friedman with Tom's Hardware, and this is the PlayStation 5 in our labs. So we're going to give you a quick tour of it. We're going to unbox it and, see what it's like. The box is pretty plain. It's got PS5 logos all around it. It tells us it's the 825 gigabyte SSD in there. And, it has some buzzwords about its 8K capabilities, its 4K up to 120 hertz capabilities, and we have some pictures of the new controller as well. But let's dive right into unboxing this. So the box sort of just slides right open, and it looks like there's actually another box inside here. Yep, that's just an outer shell. So this one opens right up, and it looks immediately like there's some stuff right here at the top. So if we can get this open, we'll see, well, there's some instruction manuals and stuff like that. Put those to the side. We don't need that just for unboxing. There's also our power cable. And this looks to be the new DualSense controller. Let's open this up and get a quick glimpse. So there's our new black and white design of the DualSense. So we're going to put this to the side because we're going to look at this a little later. And there's a little more to open here. More instructions, of course. We move this. Oh, it feels like there's actually a little more in here. And, oh, okay, this is the stand. This is actually really important. We have the HDMI cable here too. But the stand, and this can go on both either vertically or horizontally, as we'll show you a little bit later. And I'm just going to put this to the side and all this stuff to the side because here I see a peek of the big kahuna. Let's open this up. This will also slide right out of the secondary cardboard box. Of course, there's some packaging material here as well. We can get that out of the way. 1 and 2. And we're starting to see its size here. It's feeling pretty big, but let's unwrap this. Be all polite, but get this off of here. We're not going to need this. Oh, and there it is, our first glimpse. This is the PlayStation 5. So our first step towards really setting this up is going to be putting on the stand, which again can go on with the PlayStation 5 either horizontally or vertically. Horizontally is definitely the easier way, in that it just sort of clips onto the back. There's a little spot with some PlayStation symbols, the triangles, the circles, the X's, and the square, and you can just sort of align them on the back, and it just snaps on with some pressure. And then you lay it sideways, and that's really it. So that's the easy way to do it if you prefer it sideways in your entertainment center. For those who want the stand vertical, it's a bit more work, but you're probably only going to do this once, so we're not going to worry too much about it. There's a little knob here that you just got to pull out with your fingernail, and that protects where a screw is going to go. So you don't want to lose that knob. You can actually store it in the stand, because as you see here, it twists, and there's a screw, and as you'll see, a little slot for the knob. So the screws, it's a little stuck in there, but it's easy enough to get out after a few tries. I'm embarrassing myself here, but there it is. And then you can take the same edges that you would align when we did it horizontally, and you can connect them to the back of the system. And when you do that, you put the screw right through the hole into where the knob was. Now you're going to need a coin or a flathead screwdriver. I have a flathead here in my pocket knife. So I'm just going to go and I'm going to twist that in, and it really doesn't need to be twisted in too tight. It feels firm when you're done, and you really don't need to worry about it beyond that. And once you do that, you can really just stand it up vertically. So let's finish screwing it in here, and then I can take it, and I can store the knob, of course, or I'll put the knob to the side for now, but I could store the knob. And there it is, standing vertically without any issues. But we really got to talk about size here. This one's going to take some room in your entertainment center. Here's my old PlayStation 4. It's a little dusty, but you can see it's much bigger than the PlayStation 4 was. And with what we've seen from already established specs, it's going to be bigger than the Xbox Series X too. This is very tall, and as you see here, I'll flip this onto its side, and I'll flip this onto its side. The stand's not on the right point, but you see it's much bigger. But that's supposed to allow for much better cooling. So let's look at ports now. You see the front has USB Type A and USB Type C. as well as separate buttons for power and eject buttons. They're much more clear than they were on the PS4, and also ours has a disk drive. On the back, there's a lock slot, a whole bunch of ventilation, but when you get to the bottom, there's 2 more USB Type-A ports, an Ethernet jack, the HDMI output, and of course, the place to put the power connector. It's easy enough to take off the sides. You just pull and then slide it off. And here is one side of the 120mm double-sided fan for CPU intake. And there's also some spots that catch some dust. And you'll see on this side, you do the same thing. You just lift with the back corner and slide the whole thing off. But what's interesting about this side, besides the fact that it's the side with the Blu-ray drive, is that it's also the side that has a room for the PCIe Gen 4 NVMe SSD, and that is covered by its own slot. And here you also see the other side of the dual intake fan. So you could just take this out with a single screwdriver. Just one screwdriver takes out the single Phillips head screw, and there is the place to put it. You see the SSD can be supported with a variety of lengths. You do have to make sure, however, that it is supported by the PlayStation 5. Now that the sides are back on, let's take a look at the DualSense controller. It's not DualShock anymore, it's DualSense, and that takes a little bit of getting used to. But it really feels like the DualShock in a lot of ways. It's obviously it's white now, it's less colorful, it's got the two-tone look. I do like it, it feels nice in the hand. I'm curious to try the microphone and the haptic feedback and everything else they've really plugged in here. And that's really our first look at the PlayStation 5. Here's everything that comes in the box, but next up is to test, so we'll let you know how it goes.